What's up, everyone, and welcome to episode 8 of the Bronx and Big Blue Breakdown. I'm your host, Brady Heslin, and today we're going to have one of the more negative episodes that we have had so far. My Sunday yesterday went about as poorly as it could go for a Yankees and Giants fan, and Saturday wasn't much better. So let's get right into it. We'll start with the Yankees, since they're in the playoffs. So they're down 2-0 currently to the Toronto Blue Jays. They do not play tonight. If you're watching this or listening on Monday, they will be playing tomorrow to try to save their season. And, looking at game one, they had just a late game implosion. I mean, they had allowed 8 runs in the 7th and 8th inning combined. Luis Gil struggled. Vlad just is destroying the Yankees this series. And then there's a point. You got a close game, bases loaded, no outs, and your captain, Aaron Judge, strikes out. That was just like a momentum, shifter right there. They really struggled to hit Kevin Gausman, and Luke Weaver came in, was terrible again. He's like unusable for the rest of the postseason in high leverage spots. I think you have Bender, obviously, he's your most trusted guy. Then honestly, Devin Williams is probably up there right now. And then, it's like Camilo Doval hasn't looked terrible. Like, maybe Tim Hill. I don't know. The bullpen looks really shaky right now. And so that's game one. Game two, just could not touch Trey Savage. It was ridiculous, the at-bats they had against this guy. He was in Double-A like 2 or 3 months ago, and he was just carving them up yesterday. No one could touch a splitter. No one could. They weren't even fouling pitches off. There were no adjustments, front hips just flying open. Especially with the lefties. Ben Rice looked lost. Trent Grisham looks lost. Bellinger looked terrible. It was there was one point, I think it was after the 4th or 5th inning, Stanton grounded out, and I was like, oh, it's a miracle with the ball in play. It was that bad. Guys are coming up to the plate, and I'm like, oh, here comes another strikeout. Volpe strikeout. Wells strikeout. McMahon strikeout. It's it was unbelievable the start this guy was having. And then Max Fried was terrible. Just didn't have it. Looked bad. They were just hitting him all around the park. And then they go to Will Warren, who also gets lit up. Pretty sure he gave up 4 homers. So, just bad. And then, they ended up putting up 7 runs. Put up 5 in the 8th. If I go to the box score here, just way too little, too late. I guess the only positive is, they put up 5 in the 7th. The only positive is they made the Blue Jays burn some pitchers, but just bad. And then the Judge error in right field, I don't know what happened on that. It's just bad. 2 bad games. Just really bad games. We've seen games like this in the regular season, especially against the Blue Jays. They just have the Yankees' number. They really do. You look from a roster standpoint, the Yankees have the better roster on paper. There's no doubt about that in my mind. It's just terrible. The pitching, they get down early, and then the bats are either just completely silent or they just put up runs way too late. And a guy I did want to talk about more, I know I mentioned him a little bit, is Aaron Judge. His numbers don't look terrible, but he doesn't really have the power this postseason, and he feels like he's getting hits in spots that don't really matter. Watching the game, his numbers don't look as good as they do on paper. He doesn't really have the eye test. And not many guys really have that for the Yankees, this postseason. They just feel like they don't have that thump. They don't have that power, that they relied on so much in the regular season. If you look at their box score, I can read off some numbers here. Just really frustrating. Because they just consistently get down early, and then they don't have the bats right now to make it up. And I heard they said on Talking Yanks yesterday that really they played 1 competitive inning of baseball this entire series, and it was against Kevin Gausman, in game 1. Because the later innings didn't matter. It's cool you got 7 runs, when you're already down 12, like, whatever. But I'm pulling up the box score here. Yeah, so like Grisham's hitting 150 with a 427 OPS this postseason. Stan's hitting 150 with a 440 OPS. Jazz is 188 with a 423 OPS. Like Judge is hitting 444 with a 1.024 OPS. It's just not much power. Like Bellinger 211, 659 OPS. Wells 214, 481 OPS. I mean, their best bat has been Judge, and then Rice is 267 with an 846 OPS, and Volpe's actually 260 with a 737 OPS. So, going into Game 3, it'll be Carlos Rodon versus Shane Bieber. Obviously must win. Like, these are all must-win games the rest of the way in the series. One more loss and their season is over, but Rodon needs to put up a 0 in the first, and the Yankees need to score a run. They need to shift this momentum at home, get the crowd behind you a lot, and they need to get out to a lead. Like, they just haven't had... have they even led this series? I'm going to take a look. I can't remember Game 1, but, like, it's just... they're just digging themselves these deep holes. Or, we saw us on the regular season where, they have that one inning where they just implode, and that's what happened in Game 1. And the wheels fell off from there. So, yeah, the Yankees haven't had a lead this entire series. So, obviously they need that. They need that in Game 1. And then they need some power, Bellinger, Rice, Wells, even Grisham, find that short porch, and then Judge start driving the ball. Stan's got to drive the ball. So, we'll see. It is still really tough to comprehend that the Yankee season could just be over tomorrow. Like, it feels like, not watching the games might not feel like this, but just like looking at it on paper. Like, I know the games, like, they're not playing on paper, but like, this is a better roster than the Blue Jays. Like, I'm confident about that. The Yankees have one of the best rosters in the league. They just got to put it all together, and they just haven't done that yet this series. So, yeah, that's about all I got for the Yankees. And now let's get to another embarrassment, which was whatever I had to watch at 1 p.m. yesterday, which the Giants and Saints. Just an embarrassing team. That's all really. I mean, they're just an embarrassment. They put up a touchdown in their first 2 drives, which was the first time they've done that since 2020. So first time in the Brian Dable era. They have scored a touchdown in the first 2 drives of the game. And I felt like so confident. I was like, all right, like, this is a bad Saints team. Hope we can beat up on them some more today. Have some momentum against Philly Thursday night, because I know we got a tough schedule coming up. And then Giants don't score again the rest of the game, and they lose. So I don't even know where I really want to start. Start with the offense, I guess. Is normally where I start. Darius Slayton was just a disaster. I mean, he was the guy. I mean, him and Wan'Dale Robinson, we needed to step up the most with Malik Neighbors out, and Darius Slayton had one of the worst games of his career. And that fumble was like, that's at least a 6-point swing right there. The drop pass, the deep pass from Dart, it was literally in his hands. Didn't even get hit. It somehow like comes out. And then, I mean, the flea flicker, that's not fully on Slayton, but I thought that was more on Dart. It was underthrown, but I thought he could have made a better play on that ball. And then he leaves with a hamstring injury. So there's a pretty good chance Darius Slayton will not be able to play Thursday night. I mean, hamstring injuries typically take a little longer to heal, and with the short week, we'll see. But he was just horrific. Wan'Dale Robinson didn't really step up either. Like, he had some like design plays, but since, that game against Dallas, he just has not really been a huge impact. And then both Bo Collins and Jalen Hyatt are also disasters. They're completely awful. Jalen Hyatt's like invisible. It feels like anytime he gets the ball, it has to be like a predetermined, like, okay, we are throwing to Jalen Hyatt on this play. And then Bo Collins, I mean, he's a rookie UDFA, can't expect much, but I know he had a penalty at one point. He, on the second Dart interception, I mean, was it? I think it was the second one, where he just stopped his route. Just assumed the ball wasn't coming to him, stops his route, gets picked off. Like, he never should have been in this situation in the first place if the Giants took the wide receiver depth seriously. but they're both terrible. Like, you cannot roll with these guys the rest of the season. I mean, I'll get into this a little bit more, but like, there's no reason Lil Jordan Humphrey should not at least be a practice squad elevation or just sign to the active roster, and he should be the wide receiver 3. Because even if they bring in someone today, they're not going to be ready for Thursday. So Lil Jordan Humphrey has to play on Thursday. Like, he should be getting more snaps than Bo Collins and Jalen Hyatt, without a doubt. Jackson Dart, I mean, he looked solid early on, and I mean, no one was really doing him any favors. I mean, he has a great chemistry with Theo Johnson. You know, you can kind of tell, you know, that's a thing, but just, he has really no help. I mean, look who he's throwing to. Like, this might be worse than anything Daniel Jones ever had. I mean, when Slayton went down, you had Bo Collins, Wanda Robinson, and Jalen Hyatt receiver. I mean, you could argue, I think Bo Collins and Jalen Hyatt are probably practice squad level players. And then Wandale Robinson and he's solid, but like, he's only a slot guy. You know, he has a specific role. And then you have Theo Johnson, second-year tight end, not really proven. And then Daniel Bellinger, who's like your typical backup tight end. Like, that's who's out there for him to throw to. And then Cam Scatterbo, 4th-round rookie. Like, you know, we'll talk about him a little bit more. But the flea flicker was the annoying play. I mean, you got to put more on that. You can't underthrow that. It's a touchdown. But, you know, that'll come with time. He's a rookie. I mean, this is his second game. First game on the road. Tough environment. You know, this is part of his development at the end of the day. Like, this loss is not on Jackson Dart. And then, you know, Cam Scatterbo, like, he was playing really well. Like, I feel like he's a guy that, like, he looks better than the numbers. Like, he's not averaging a ton of yards per carry, but the run blocking is still trash. Like, he's getting hit at the line, like, every run. He's got to break so many tackles, but, you know, the fumble sucks. He had a bit of a fumble issue last year. He had 4 fumbles in college, and it just sucks that the Giants are stupid and leave up 2 open roster spots because they don't know how to manage a roster, because the cap space sucks, because the GM sucks. So they have 2 open roster spots. They roll with 2 running backs, and Scad, who's playing all these snaps, he's probably exhausted, and, you know, he fumbles the ball. This guy's a rookie. Like, this is his 5th career game, and you're giving him, he's like the number 1 playmaker on offense now that Malik Neighbors is hurt. And, like, it's going to happen. Like, he's a rookie. He's going to fumble. Like, you know, he's got to hold on the ball, but, you know, you got to expect that kind of stuff to happen. So, just super frustrating from the offense. And the roster management thing is just, like, do any other teams do this? Like, do any other teams just leave open roster spots? Neville Hewitt is out of practice squad elevations. He is going to get signed to the active roster this week. I guarantee that, especially with Swayze Bowman getting hurt. I'm pretty sure he got hurt. Why not sign Neville Hewitt last week and elevate either Lil Jordan Humphrey or Turbo Miller? And if you don't like Turbo Miller at running back and you don't want to elevate him, bring in somebody. You cannot roll with 2 running backs. Like, that just cannot happen. It's genuinely unbelievable. And Jude Nicotomney, I think he has 1 elevation left. You're going to have to sign him at some point, too. You can just sign him. Like, I don't understand the whole... And, like, okay, they have, like, $1.6 million in cap space. Well, whose fault was that? You should not be rolling with 2 extra guys because you don't have the money. Like, it's so stupid, this team. Like, the front office is just complete clowns. And then the defense, I don't really have much on the defense. I mean, they made Spencer Rattler look like Tom Brady. Like, he was just dicing them up. Pass rush, it wasn't the typical suspects. Actually, Darius Alexander had a really good game. Shout out Darius Alexander. But Rakeem Nunez-Roches also had a good game. Dexter Lawrence didn't even play half the snaps because of his illness. And then, like, the guys on the edge didn't make as much of an impact, but you could tell the Saints' game plan was to get the ball out quickly, and that's what they did. Deonte Banks should not get him off the field. Get Deonte Banks off the field. Cordell Flott is clearly the CB2. I don't understand whether... I mean, he only played, like, 8 pass what's it called, 8 coverage snaps. I think they basically benched him after the DPI that brought back a Javon Holland interception after the Darius Alexander QB hit. But he's clearly terrible. He's only playing because he was a first-round pick, and that's another problem with this regime. They hold on to their draft picks way too long. Jalen Hyatt, he's bad. Get rid of him. Evan Neal, he's bad. Get rid of him. Those are 2 guys that are non-factors. So they basically have 49 guys on the roster because Evan Neal's a non-factor, Jalen Hyatt's a non-factor, and then you have 2 open roster spots. And then Deonte Banks, first-round pick, that's the only reason he's playing. I'm convinced that is the only reason Deonte Banks is playing. Cordell Flott has outplayed him in every fashion. I think I tweeted or posted, just make Deonte Banks a kick returner. He actually looks kind of electric in that role. He's had a few good returns. Just make him a kick returner. Then he at least has some value. But he offers nothing. He gets beat. He doesn't turn his head, so he just tackles the guy, and it gets a penalty every time. So, trying to think. The linebackers look pretty much fine. Tyler Nubin's slow and not good. He's not going to be very good. But he's not going to get taken out because he was a second-round pick last year. Neither do I think he should, but I just think his athleticism is going to hold him back in the league from being a really good safety. Paulson Adebo just got to make plays on the ball, and he's not. The Giants invested $100 million into the secondary, and it looks worse. So, take from that what you will. Jamie Gillen looked good on kickoffs, and then Gunnar Olszewski's been doing fine on returns. That's all my notes. Just an embarrassing team. They're 1-4, and I'll get into this a little bit later in the looking forward segment, but they have an extremely tough schedule coming up. You think this is bad. The Saints game, when you look at the Giants' schedule over the season, you saw the Saints, and you're okay, that should be a win. I can put a W there, and they lose by 12. So, honestly, them beating the Chargers and then losing to the Saints was the most Giants thing they could have done. But that's about all I got for the Giants. So moving on to the studs and duds section. So for the Yankees, it was actually quite difficult to find a stud. Again, Aaron Judge, he has decent numbers. I'm not giving it to him. He doesn't pass the eye test. Hasn't been playing well defensively. So the only guy I found that was somewhat deserving was Camilo Doval. He had 2 innings, no runs in game 1. So Camilo Doval, I guess you're the stud. And then the dud. This was also tough to narrow down. I narrowed it down to 4 guys. And then I had a guy that was on the bubble that I'm going to leave out because I think 5 is a bit much. So I have Max Fried, 3 innings pitched, 8 hits, 7 earned runs. He pitched terrible. Luke Weaver, he's pitched a third of an inning, given up 2 hits, 3 earned runs. And the only reason he has a third of an inning was because he went in for some reason yesterday. Luis Heel, you could argue maybe he doesn't deserve it as much as some other people, but at the end of the day, he set the tone kind of for the series. 2 2/3, 4 hits, 2 earned runs. Just didn't have it. Trent Grisham is my last one. He's 1 for 8 with 3 strikeouts, and he's struggled in the Boston series. He just does not look like the guy from the regular season. He's just really struggling. And then the guy that was on the bubble is Stanton. He kind of saved himself yesterday. He's 2 for 9 with 3 strikeouts in the series. So he was on the bubble. I'm not going to put him on it, but he at least kind of gets an honorable mention. And then for the Giants, I actually need to pull up the box score to make sure I have the right stats here because I added someone late. I forgot to add somebody. But my first one is Daniel Bellinger. He was actually a big part of the offense a bit after, with Blake Neighbors' injury. They're going to be running more 2 10-end sets. And he almost had 2 fumbles. Giants can't hold on the ball. But, yeah, I didn't even mention that. The Giants had 5 straight possessions with a fumble. First team since 2009. Doesn't even surprise me, honestly. I'm pretty much numb to this at this point. What stat are the Giants going to set next is kind of my, mentality on it. So Daniel Bellinger was 4 for 52. Like, the fact that this guy is like a stud is like, this shows how bad it's been. And then Theo Johnson's my other one, 6 for 33 and 2 touchdowns. Like, you can tell him and Dart have a connection. Like, they look good. So yeah, those are my studs. Like, no one else is really deserving, to be honest. I forgot to mention, but I sent myself some, like, tweets that I wanted to mention. So here are the Giants' drives versus the Saints. So they went touchdown, touchdown, punt, punt, fumble, fumble, fumble return for touchdown, interception, interception, turnover on downs. Again, touchdown, touchdown, punt, punt, fumble, fumble, fumble for touchdown, interception, interception, turnover on downs. Yep, that about sums up the season so far. And for the duds, I feel like these two guys are on every week. Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen. I mean, the roster configuration by Joe Schoen is terrible. And just the lack of attention to detail and how undisciplined this team is unreal. I'm not sure these two guys survive Thursday. Like, this is like the first, I thought they could have got fired last offseason. I wanted them to get fired. They didn't. Besides that, this is like the most on the hot seat that they've been. Figure they have like a 10-day break in between games. There's a high chance they get absolutely embarrassed at home and a nationally televised game. I think someone's going to get fired. Someone has to get fired. Maybe it's Shane Bowen. I don't know. But I am not sure that these two guys survive Thursday, honestly. And then I have Darius Slayton. He was 3 for 31 with a fumble and a drop. Like, they need him to step up. He only has 19 catches in his last 12 games. They just gave him an extension. He's hurt now. Like, game could not really have went any worse for Darius Slayton. So, yeah. That's about all I got for the studs and duds this week. Sorry, it's just, like, so tough to find any positives between these games. Like, I feel so negative. But, like, it was just so bad. Like, it's so bad. It's the state of this team. It just feels like they're in this endless cycle. Like, they're just in this endless cycle. And I'm just praying Jackson Dart can be the franchise quarterback, because then that, like, bails out a lot of other things and can kind of get them out of that cycle, at least partially. But I just see no way Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen are the ones that will bring this team to a Super Bowl. Like, I just don't see it. And they need a change. And I think it's going to happen sooner rather than later. Fan mailbag. I did not post. I had a question. Someone had asked me a question, but I didn't write it down. I guess what have I not really talked about? I feel like I haven't talked enough about the wide receiver and how, like, mismanaged that has been. I'm trying to think what the original question. I don't know. It's just completely insane to me that they did nothing to improve this wide receiver room after McNeighbors got hurt. Like, so the Giants are going to be rolling into Thursday night if Darius Slayton can't go, which there's a possibility that happens, with Bo Collins, Jalen Hyatt, and Wan'Dale Robinson, and then they have Gunnar Olszewski as their 4. And they'll have to elevate Lil Jordan Humphrey. So there is a world where Lil Jordan Humphrey is wide receiver 1 Thursday night, because he's better than Bo Collins and he's better than Jalen Hyatt, and Wan'Dale's a slot guy. So if Slayton can't go, Lil Jordan Humphrey is wide receiver 1 for a team in year 4 of a regime and a nationally televised game against arguably the best team in the NFL. So I don't know why they won't bring in Isaiah Hodgins. I don't know why they won't bring in like Gabe Davis. Somebody. Like, just bring in anybody that has proven anything in the NFL. Because what has Jalen Hyatt proved and what has Bo Collins proved? Jalen Hyatt can't even catch 50-50 balls at this point. At least he could do that his rookie year. Like, you throw it deep, he might be able to come down with it. Just no shot. His only chance is begging for a PI. Like, if I was a corner defending Jalen Hyatt, just, like, hands off. Just, like don't even try to really play the ball. Like, just hands off and just, like, let Jalen Hyatt mess up. Like, I'm just so frustrated with how the whole situation has, been handled. So we'll move on to this week in history. So on October 5th, 1921, the Yankees won their first World Series. They defeated the New York Giants, so that's why I kind of thought it was funny, 3-0 in the first. Sorry, this wasn't their first World Series. This was their first World Series win in a game, not like series. But yeah, they beat the Giants 3-0 in the first game of the series. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then on October 4th, 1925, the New York Football Giants had their first scheduled game ever. They played against an independent team in New Britain, Connecticut, often referred to as All New Britain. And this was before their first official NFL game. The Giants began with exhibition matchups that fall. So I thought that was pretty interesting there. So let's look forward. It's been kind of a shorter episode, but it's just been so like gloom and doom. Like, who really wants to listen to me talk about how bad, the Giants and how bad the Yankees have played for 50 minutes? But start with the Yankees. They need 3 in a row. I mean, this is the season right here. 89% of teams that have started 2-0 have won the series, but let's be part of that 11. You got Rodon versus Bieber. On paper, they have the matchup there. Schlittler versus Bassett. On paper, they have the matchup there. Then you probably go Fried versus Gossman for Game 5 if you even get there. And, at that point, hopefully you have some momentum. So, as I said earlier, they need runs early, and they need solid starting pitching. Like, Carlos Rodon needs to go out there and give at least, like, six innings of, like, 2-run ball. Like, that's what they need. And then, like, a first-inning homer, like what Ben Rice did against the Red Sox. Like, that's what they need, like, to start off. Like, show that you deserve to be your first ball because you don't look like it right now. Like, it looks like a Double-A team just got thrown in there. It's like, hey, play the Toronto Blue Jays. Like, that's about how this has looked. So, prove that you belong. Don't get swept by a team in your division. At least win a game for pride. And, I don't want the season to end. So, Aaron Judge, you're the captain. Step up. Go yard. Giancarlo Stanton, it's October. Like, be that guy. Bellinger, you want some money? Grisham, you want some money in the offseason? Have a 2-homer game or something like that. Jazz, you want to get paid next year, like, step up in the postseason a little bit. Volpe, continue the postseason. Wells get hot again. McMahon, keep, being solid on defense and maybe be a bit of a, bat. So, yeah, I mean, not really much to say. Just, we know everything about the Blue Jays that we need to know. Like, just got to go in there, got to go to New York and beat them. So, and now, Giants versus Eagles. I don't even really care to preview this game. Like, they're going to get slaughtered. I mean, they're absolutely going to get slaughtered. I mean, I'm almost trying to reverse psychology it because the last time I did this, when they played the Chargers, they ended up winning, but I just see no way. Like, I just see absolutely no way. Like, the fact that a team it's a division matchup, first of all, and the away team is, 7-point favorites in the Eagles tells you just how, like, the difference in skill between these two teams. I mean, where do the Giants have an advantage? I mean, like, the Eagles have a solid offensive line. Like, they're going to have to get pressure, like, big time. Like, Dexter Lawrence needs to be Dexter Lawrence this game. And we haven't really seen that yet this year. But, like, the secondary, I mean, the Giants' run defense is just horrific. And then going against Hurts and Saquon. Like, Saquon might go for 200 yards. He may go for 200 yards. And they have that stupid documentary that's coming out this week. Like, God. And here's what I want to talk about. So here's the Giants' upcoming schedule. Keep in mind, they're 1-4 in year 4 of this regime. Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, 49ers, Bears, Packers, Lions. Where are the wins? And I had to cut it off. Like, I could keep going. Then they got Patriots and Commanders. Where are the wins there? I mean, I think they sneak out of there with 1, so they're 2-10. Like, there's just no way Dable and Shane survive this. Like, there's absolutely no way. And then you don't know about the future of a lot of guys on this team, including, like, a Jackson Dart, depending on how he plays. A new coach might come in and want his guy. So, like, now what do you do? So, I know I'm thinking way, in the future, but, like, it's October 6th, and these are the conversations that we're having. Like, we are wondering when guys are going to get fired and where our draft pick is going to lie for the 12th year in a row or whatever. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, besides the Jets, like, what other team, like, has to go through this every single year? I mean, I know the Panthers haven't been good in a while, but, like, it's unreal how quickly this season just ends. And, of course, they have a super strong strength of schedule, so they're going to be, like, down further in the draft pick section, but and I'm kind of comparing this, just hear me out on this, to week 2, because obviously week 2 was a super competitive game, 40-37, whatever, but just think of how much differently we'd be feeling right now, even if it was the sloppiest game in the world. Like, the Saints did not play a very good game. The Giants beat themselves. Like, imagine if the Giants won that game. You're 2-3, going against the Eagles, got some momentum. Like, worst case scenario, you can look back and be like, oh, remember we won 2 games early and, like, we were kind of in it for a little bit? Now you're 1-4, and you have this schedule coming up. Like, it's over. It's absolutely over. I mean, just look at the schedule. Just, like, what... They never beat the Eagles. The Broncos just beat the Eagles. 49ers, I mean, they're just going to flat out get out-coached in that game. Like, that's what it's going to come down to. Christian McCaffrey will run all over the Giants. The Bears are looking better as of late. And then you got the Packers, Lions. Like, those are 2 very good teams. Where do you win? Like, then you got the Patriots on primetime the next week. So, yeah, I know I apologize for, being super, like, negative, but it's just, like, so frustrating. It's just so frustrating because, I know myself and a lot of people, they put a lot of time and, effort and, they love the Giants a lot and they just don't get what they pay for the product, Like, they just haven't put a good product out on the field in years, and there's a lot of head-scratching decisions that, come along with this team, so... And the Yankees, they're crumbling right now. They're just completely crumbling. You could tell, during the regular season that they look bad against AL East teams. And, we're seeing that, here with the Blue Jays. Blue Jays have just had their number. And, hopefully something can change. But, you just got to go 3 in a row or they're done. So, yeah, I'm just trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about. It's been a little bit of a shorter episode, but, I mean, it's just... It was a tough few days. So, future schedule, I did want to talk about this. Unless the Yankees series goes to Game 5, the next episode will be Friday. I'll be recapping the Yankees series, because if it is Friday, that means that they lost. So, I'll be recapping that, and then recapping the Giants. Game against the Eagles. After that, I don't really know why I would need an episode Monday. I might end up taking, like, a little week off from Monday episodes after that, just because I've had to, do some double episode weeks. And then, if the Yankees get eliminated, if they keep going, then I'll have to keep doing episodes. But if they do get eliminated, which I know it kind of hits me in my head right now, like, I'm assuming they're going to get eliminated, but it all kind of depends on how the Yankees do. Assuming they get eliminated, I might just take that Monday off and then do maybe a short preview of the Broncos, maybe on, like, Friday, as, like, a little mini episode. Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at right now. So, just kind of sucks. Just thinking again in the future, trying to kind of extend this a little bit, but when the Yankees are in the offseason and the Giants season's going to be over, we have some short episodes, some pretty negative episodes, and, I'm probably going to try to get some guests on. I know I mentioned that in, episode 1. I haven't really done that yet. Kind of just want to, get in a routine, kind of get my footing and that kind of thing with this whole, podcast stuff. Never done it before, so, yeah, appreciate you guys for, listening or watching wherever you are. I also want to say thank you for the support on episode 6. That episode has done really well on YouTube, so I appreciate that. And, yeah, let's go Yankees and let's go Giants.